Hi, my Facebook family and friends. It's Myra again from Brown Cherub's Love Zone, and I thought I would jump on to do another quick little live. I'm doing my live today to promote some of my sessions that I am going to be holding at Solihull Wellbeing Clinic over the next few weeks. You can find them on the Meetup website if you are interested in attending. If you register there, you can book your place, which would be wonderful. It'd be great to see you. I've got some interesting sessions coming up, so do check them out. If you want to know more information, you can also send me a message. And I just wanted to also continue to promote my Brown Cherub's Love Zone, which is a free Facebook page for singles who are seriously ready to mingle, but also for people who are interested in attraction, relationships, and love. So if you are interested in those three things, then Brown Cherub's Love Zone is the place for you. We are going to be having a social at the end of the month. I think it's Friday the 26th of the month. We will be going to Ming Moon's for Chinese food and karaoke. If I get enough people, I'm looking for 10 people. Sorry, that's distracting me. I'm looking for 10 people. It'd be nice if I could get a mixture of men and women, but any group of people is fine. So do let me know. We're going to need to make a decision on that, I think probably by the end of this weekend, so that I can book the room, because we'd obviously have a private room, and there's more information about that on my page and also in the group. So do let me know if you're interested to get out a little bit and socialise with a really nice friendly group of people. We're going to have lots of fun. My live today, I wanted to talk about how to turn some of your pain into power. As you know, as some of you may or may not know, I'm a life coach. I also do Reiki healing. I'm a master Reiki healer, and I'm an NLP practitioner and a teacher. So I've got quite a lot of experience, knowledge, skills, and so forth that I'm trying to employ to promote what I'm trying to do, and also to help people be happier, and just generally to make the world a better and nicer place to be in for myself and my children, and their children, and future descendants. So if people are wondering why I keep doing this, that is why. And it's a massive calling, so I have to continue. But today I wanted to talk about turning pain into power, and I wanted to refer to that in terms of attraction. Now, when I was younger, I used to be a bit of a bully, and I'm not going to lie, it's something that it was just a phase that I went through, and I'm not going to talk too much about that whole thing. I might do actually in one of my meetup sessions. I haven't posted that particular one, but I am going to be doing a session on bullying at some point, because I've been a bully myself when I was much younger, and I've also been a victim of bullying, so I've got some insight on both of those. But I wanted to talk to people this afternoon about turning pain into power, and how you can use an element of that for attraction. So the reason I mention bullying is because hopefully not everybody has had this experience, but I think most people have had the experience of being called names, being called nasty names, what you perceive as nasty names when you were younger, and I hope nobody's suffering from that sort of thing now, as an adult, if you are. In fact, if you ever did and it's still a concern to you, then do get in touch and I can signpost people to some additional support. But I think at one point or another, we've all probably gone through an experience of being called names, being called nasty names. And I was thinking about this a little while ago, and I was thinking that, and again, I always say in my videos that this is always just my perspective, and I share my perspective from my research, from my observations, from my own personal experience, and from certain things that certain clients have told me over the time that I've been practicing. So what I tend to find when people have been called names is that it's usually a particular person who will notice something quite specific about you. It can be your appearance, it could be your smell, it could be the way you dress, it could be some sort of action that you do, but somebody in your group will pick up on that and will notice it. And because that I don't know how that element or that feature or that trait of yours is unusual to them, they then latch onto it and they will carry on and on and on, pointing it out, talking about it, teasing you, calling you names, and basically trying to maybe make a joke about it with other people and going on and 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 on about it. And for the person who's on the receiving end of that, it can be quite painful. It makes you feel a little bit isolated. It puts a spotlight on that particular trait or feature. And it's worse when it's something that you're not comfortable about, or that you are embarrassed about, or trying to hide, or can't change, or can't prevent. And so it becomes quite a painful thing. So when I was thinking about this a little while ago, I was thinking, what is that about? And I've written a little book about it. Actually, I haven't finished writing the book is finished, but I haven't kind of added the illustrations, and I haven't put it through the self-publishing process yet. I don't know why. Actually, I need to, because anti-bullying is I think it's every October. So maybe I should. That's probably a reminder. For me to get that done for this October, because every year I say I'm going to get it done for that time of year. Anyway, so I have given it quite a lot of thought. And first of all, I was thinking, why is it that certain people notice these things about other people and tease them and bully them? What is it about a particular person that can bug somebody else so much that they have to then tease them, bully them, and make a thing about it? And there's lots and lots of elements that I've recognised and I've researched. But what I wanted to particularly talk about is oftentimes it's something that the person is either jealous of, would like, is different, is unusual, and that person has latched onto it because they're intrigued. It's a curiosity, it's intriguing, or it's something that they find unusual, don't understand. And you might think, well, if a slim person is calling a big person fatty, how can that be out of intrigue or interest? But it can be it might be because the skinny person or the slimmer person is jealous, because that person, they might have a perception that that person is fat because that person is getting lots to eat, is getting treats, chocolate, junk food, which the slimmer person probably isn't allowed to have. And so that might be a reason. And there's lots and lots of psychological reasons. And I hope if people, out there, and I know people who do work in psychology and stuff, can maybe add something to that. But that's just something that I've noticed. As a teacher, I've talked to quite a few children who are bullies and who have been bullied. And when I speak to the bully, they will often say, well, I think that's... I don't know. Let's say, for example, Tommy is bullying Sarah because she's got red hair, and it's probably because Tommy doesn't know anybody else in his family that has red hair. So he's intrigued by it, and at that age we're very immature at how to communicate things, and so the way he is communicating that is to point it out. He might get a few laughs because he's pointed it out. So then he becomes he feels quite popular, feels accepted, and so maybe he'll carry on. Oftentimes bullies, when I've spoken to children who are bullies, they very rarely intend to cause pain and distress to the person. Oftentimes what they're doing it for is to get acceptance for themselves and to get positive attention for themselves. And oftentimes that child hasn't had that, hasn't had positive attention or positive comments or being popular themselves, and so that's one of the reasons that it perpetuates. So what I'm getting at is, for you, if you've ever received that, I want you to, just for a moment, don't linger there because I don't want people to start getting upset, but if you can for a moment, think about something about you, can be physically or a trait that somebody's commented about. Now, what I would like you to do then is see if that trait still exists within you or as physically is still a part of you. And then I want you to think about how you can accentuate that and work it and make it your USP. If you've ever done business, I've done a business course as well, so I pick up all these things as I go through life. If you've ever done a business course, there's something called a USP, which is your unique selling point. And in business, it refers to the element of your business or service that makes it different from everybody else's. Now, you all eat food, you all go to the supermarket, there's rows of cereal, there's rows of crisps, there's rows of chocolate, there's rows of yogurt, there's rows of apples, but we all like a particular type of crisps. Hi Tina. Or a particular type of yogurt or a particular type of coffee, or we all, even though there's all that choice, we still tend to choose a particular type because that's what we like. And there's lots of different types because lots of different people like different types, and they're all on the shelf because different people are buying them. Because if people weren't buying them, you'd soon see that the supermarket or the shop would stop selling them. So everybody likes different things. So the unique selling point is, what is it about that particular product that attracts you to it over everything else that's there to be chosen from? So I want you to hear that voice just for a moment. As I say, don't linger on it too long because I don't want people to start going back into that place and having those emotional feelings. But just think for a moment what it was. And then think, right, okay, somebody used to talk about my weight, or somebody talked about my teeth, or somebody talked about the way I was wearing glasses, or whatever it was. And then think, right, how can I use that? How can I accentuate that? How can I grow from that? How can I make that a unique selling point? If you're a person who was teased because you wear glasses, next time you buy glasses, buy some really funky ones, some that stand out, some that are different, some that light up, some that are, I don't know, I've got a fancy shape around it. Use that, because the reason that the person way back when was teasing you about it was because there was something about it that stood out for them. And especially if you're, you know, a part of Brown Cherub's Love Zone is talking about attraction. There's like I said before, there's a million more women than men just in the UK. So you need to employ every single strategy that you can to stand out. If you were teased because you were fat, then be voluptuous, be full-figured, you know, make the most of it, show your curves, because you've got a little bit more than everybody else. I'm telling you, that's a good thing. And people who are teasing you are probably jealous because they wish they had a little bit more. So use it, turn your pain into power, and use it to be, use it as your USP, use it to stand out, use it to just accept and embrace that difference in you, because that is your unique selling point. And, you know, I'm quite a spiritual person, and I believe that the universe is trying to communicate with us all the time. And, you know, people can meditate or use candles or all sorts of things, tarot cards, angel cards, all sorts of stuff, runes, tea leaves, all sorts of things, because people are trying to hear these messages and trying to understand how to communicate and hear what the universe is saying. And I believe, after all these years, that when you're being bullied or when you're being kind of reprimanded as a child about the things that you do, that's the universe talking to you. It might have felt hard at the time, but when I think about it in my life and I reflect, I know now that that was the universe talking to me, and I know it was the universe talking to me because of how repetitive it was. It was over and over again. And I'll tell you one, because one thing about me and the way I teach and the way I try to communicate with people is I never ask anybody to do something I'm not prepared to do myself. So I'll share one with you. When I was younger, my mum would always, and my mum would always tell me to shush, and I call that gagging now. You know, I was constantly, and I don't mean physically gagged. She didn't tape up my mouth or stick something in my mouth, but she would always shush me. I was always shushed. And when I did my NLP course a couple of years ago, that was one of the first things I wanted to work on. I wanted to work on releasing my throat chakra and being able to speak my truth without being gagged, without being shushed, without being quietened. And I know from family and friends, I can see it, I'm not stupid, that some people don't like my truth, some people don't like what I say, or what I have to say, or the way that I say it. But I can only be me, and I have been quiet for a very long time, you know, and I've tried to simmer it down, and I've tried to be considerate, and I've tried to think about things from other people's perspective, and I've tried not to be rash and blunt and you know, and hurt people's feelings with what I have to say. But speaking and communicating is one of my probably top 3 skills. It's one of my top 3 assets. It's one of my top 3 abilities, if you would. It's my superpower. So I cannot not do that. I have to communicate. I have to speak. I have to talk my truth. I have to be the person, like in The Emperor's New Clothes, where that little boy, you know, sees the emperor riding naked. Nobody else is willing to say, I'm going to be that person to say, hang on a minute, yes, he's naked. What are you doing that for? And all my life I was shushed, I was hushed. I was told, you can't say this, don't say that. You know, I don't say it to hurt nobody's feelings. I ain't saying it to, embarrass anybody or show anybody up. But if that is the truth as I see it, then I have to speak it. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to continue to do it. Yes, I have fine-tuned it. I have reeled it in. I do try to be a little bit more professional and diplomatic, but I'm telling you all now, just so you know, that I know I've probably offended people or upset people, but I really do not say, I've said to my family and friends, I've said to Mark, my husband, you know, I offend people probably at least, I offend somebody at least once a day, maybe, I don't know, but I don't say 85% of what I think and feel, ever. So if I've offended somebody with 15%, then that just goes to show how powerful my words are. And, you know, as I say, I always do it from a place of love, but I have to speak my truth as I see, and I will always encourage everybody else to do the same. Don't think I'm just speaking my truth and I'm not willing to listen. I am willing to listen to other people's truth and have debates and negotiations. In fact, just yesterday I was at a studio filming as a featured audience member to share my truth. So I am going to do that, and I encourage everybody else to walk in their truth and speak their truth. And I was told by a dear friend, you know, as long as your truth is coming from a place of love, you can't ever be wrong. So do that. So that's it really. The message for today was work out what your USP is, your unique selling point. If you don't know what it is or you can't remember, then go back to that place of being taunted or teased or bullied as a child or whenever. Think carefully about what the person was saying to you and hear it. Don't fear it. Don't try and block it out and not listen. Listen to it and hear what it's saying. Then you think about how you can use that to your best effect. If, for example, you were one of those poor children who was teased because they smelled, there's something about your smell. It might have been that you didn't have hot running water or soap in your house, and so you couldn't bathe regularly. I don't know, but it's something that you can use. So not necessarily your smell, but the way that you smell. So be mindful of how you smell. Explore different types of deodorant, different types of perfume, different types of cosmetics, different types of shower gel or shampoo, and make your smell your thing. Do you know what I mean? My daughter crushes flower petals from the garden in the summer, puts it in a bottle of water, shakes it up and puts it on her windowsill and makes her own perfume. And she was doing that since she was about 10. So, you know, she likes smells. Smells are her thing. So if that was your thing, you turn your power into pain and you make it work. Sorry, you turn your pain into power and make it work for you. Make it your USP. Make it something that stands you out from the crowd and something that you can defend and something that you can love. Because, you know, as I say, the universe is always trying to communicate with us, and you know, if we're not listening, a friend of mine put a really interesting post up. I can't remember exactly what he said, but basically it was saying if you don't hear the message, it will send you a lesson, and if you don't learn the lesson, it will send you pain, because you have to pay attention. And then she put something like, you know, please just listen to the message in the first place, so you don't have to go through that process. So I am surrounded by some very, very wise people, and I always try to reference where I get my information from. So yes, that's my little live for today: how to turn your pain into power and use it as your USP. And if you do kind of think about that, and it does cause you any pain, or it does bring up any feelings or emotions or situations that you haven't dealt with for a long time and it has upset you, then do feel free to contact me, or you can contact Solihull Wellbeing Clinic directly. You can Google it if you want to have a little look at where it is and what the facilities are and what services are offered there. You can feel free. So I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for joining me. As I always say, if you have liked it, then please let me know by sharing with a thumbs up or a heart. If you don't like it, you can share that too, because as I always say, I'm big enough and ugly enough to accept whatever somebody else has to say, because I understand we all have differences of opinion. If there was anything particularly interesting, then do feel free to leave a comment. And if you think anybody else that you know may benefit from this video, then do feel free to share. So yes, have a great rest of your day. Love and light, and namaste. Bye.